Welcome from Barcelona to all the attendees of this act. Thank you to the organizers as well for inviting EAS to be part of this event. Remind that we are to share with you our experience into the development of the 4.0 solutions serving the TC industry. Remind what Lord Kelvin said: what is not defined cannot be measured, what is not measured cannot be improved, and what is not improved is always degraded. So, how we're going to proceed? We are to decide first about the KPI, something that has appeared as a nice word in the last time, and that stands for Key Performance Indicator. This is the fastest route to reduce production costs and environmental impact. That's very important to decide on the thousands of data that you are getting every second, or that you may potentially get every second. What are the ones that are important for you and how to treat them? To make this happen, first you have to do an analysis about your internal needs, what you have and what you need to do, and then to trust in a reliable partner with experience in the sector. Remind that we at EAS have been in business since 30 years ago, and we have international presence since 2006. And coming to this close area of the world, we have customers in Spain, Portugal, Italy, Morocco, Tunisia, Turkey, and presence as well with in other countries into this area, like Egypt, for instance. We need to go through a real case study, the complexity of the textile value chain. Remind, ours is a sector completely different to what you can do in other field of activity. If a washing machine has a problem with a door, they will simply reject that problem. In textiles, no, we are completely different. What you have to do first is to do a lot of processing parts so that you can deliver the same door 15 days later. And this makes a big difference. And adding to this difference, specificity in our sector, we are to bear in mind the fierce competition coming from Asia. And we have to bear in mind to meet the sustainability needs and goals. We as consumers, all of us, we have this information in mind, and we are to keep this in our mind. So there is a main strategic object to develop in a sustainable way. Then the second strategic goal will be to grow. So we have to do everything at that time. We have to bear in mind that we have challenges in front of us that we have to control. And there is a bunch of important points that we have to control. Some of the needs, we need to control the expenses. We need to control the energy expenditure. We need to control the ecological footprint, and we are to control the inventory assets. This means that we need to succeed to have the best tools available in the market to take all this data from the plant and to work on them. Otherwise, it makes no sense to collect a lot of information and not be able to process them. To make this happen, there are a bunch of solutions in the market, but we offer you 3 of them that they are very specific and that they are very good for you. If you follow this pyramid on the lower part, there are the machines that day by day they come more and better equipped. Nevertheless, you have to go to a second level because those machines, they come just with sensors and actuators, but then you need to go to upper level, the PLC and the SCADA. This means that you have all the information and all the tools to manage that specific machine. And to do that, you can count on Atlantis from EAS. When you go to upper level, you have the MES, the Manufacturing System Execution Software. In our case, we call it Infotint. It's a tool that will help you to manage the plant, not only the machine, but the plant. And on the top of the pyramid, it comes the ERP, the Enterprise Resource Planning. This means the way to manage all the resources in that business, in that company. So you need to interact and to connect all this information in order to succeed. In that case, TextDrive is our tool for that. So going from the bottom up, what we have to try is to get the edge computing system to have results in real time coming from the plant, and that they have to be transferred to the cloud so that you can do later or real time the microanalysis that in some cases you can share with your customers and with your suppliers. To make this happen, we provide solutions based on SQL Server that they go into two different directions. On the one hand, the management of the plant and the production of the plant. When it comes to the management, you see that we are proposing the connection to the lab, to the machines, as we said before, and the complete management of the plant, not forgetting something very important, the CMS, that is the computerized maintenance management systems. Also, when it comes to production, well, we have the chance to connect to the plant, to the machines, to the monitor, to grab information from there, to the dosing machines, and to connect for those larger companies with the ERP, where it lays all the information about the company. In our case, Infoteam, our MES software, is able to communicate with the lab. So we are active part into the product engineering, the recipes and the processes, connecting to the production machines as well, regardless if they are into the weaving area, Dolby Jacquard, the knitting area, or if it's a processing mill with the preparation machines, with the dyeing machines and the finishing machines, not to mention them all. Infoteam can connect to any ERP available in the market, and it's part of our text drive, our own ERP. We add also a planning that it's a very powerful tool that you can work on, and this helps you to do the control of the raw materials. And at the same time, since the day one you start to work with us, you'll have all historical and cost information, graphs and report, and you can download in PDF, in Word, in Excel, and we can work on that. And last but not least, it's the quality control that is going to connect all the points to the lab, as we said at the very beginning, or to get the list of all the controls you are doing to the visual inspection of the pieces. When it comes to the data, there are some characteristics of the data in the system that you are to bear in mind. Volume, the very high volume we said before that you are adding in every second if you have everything connected. So in addition to that, you need to have reliable information, reliable data. And for that, you have to work with specialists providing real data coming from the plant. Variety. In the case that we have our own Scala, this helps us to connect with different types of drivers, develop drivers, and connect with different machines, and you can have the complete roadmap into your plant. Speed, something very essential. Real-time information, so you can take decisions real-time. And last but not least, we offer transparency, open databases, so you can work on that and you can share this information with you. When we define the data, remind what has to be measured, additional data that you don't have as of now, but it could be important for you, and the tools required to make it happen. Remember what we said, the survey of the needs, control of the expenses, energy expenditure control, ecological footprint control, and control of the patrimonial inventory, the assets. The evaluation to choose the best KPIs, identify the plant assets, the different sections, the processes you have in every section, the important process variables, and the current traceability level on each one. Remind, next level is to evaluate this collection of data that you are doing and the integration feasibility. Visibility of the same economic study, that's something that is very important because you cannot consider to connect, to spend 1,000 euros just to collect information for the consumption of the steam, for instance, of 5,000 euros to connect information for every machine. If you have 40 machines, this becomes not feasible. So you are to do economic study, bearing in mind that we have developed ourselves some information and some collecting devices that as cheap as 100 euros app, you can also use and take benefit of the different formulas that we have developed, bearing in mind the different stages of the production, considering the rise of the temperature before and after that. And once you have all the information, you have to analyze that. Information analytic tools, decision rules, and track improvement, something that is very important in every moment of the production. To make this happen, what you have to do is to work very much into a spreadsheet to identify the assets in the machinery, the section, the machines, the main process, and production capacity and availability. That's something very important because in that case, you will be able to see where you are not being effective. In every case, you can have all these information that, well, once you have already listed them, you place them into the system and you have real cases like this one. It's a recent project that we have done. And what you have to do in a die house that it's commission-based. Customers, they bring the products to them. So it's very important to be very careful about the rail warehouse. What do you need to control in that stage? Simple. The kilos that they are coming from the customer, but also you need to know the kilos that they are around the plant or the kilos that they are already completed. So you have to select the KPIs that you need to control. You have to go to the level of the auxiliary preparation machines, to the dyeing machines, of course, to the stentors, the finishing machines, the quality control and packaging, and all the auxiliary machines, because you have to bear in mind machines like boilers, they represent an additional cost to the plant and you have to add it somewhere. So you are to get into consideration all those aspects. When it comes to the dyeing machine, well, you know that they are consuming a lot of water, they are consuming a lot of energy, so you are to do the control of every stage. So this is what we are bringing to you, all the tools so that you can make this control. And by means of the use of the curves of the temperature, we can work in this area in order to grab all the cost, the steam, the electricity, the water, everything counts, and this is something that is very important. And when it comes to the stentors, I continue the example of this die house. The stentors, they are burners of energy in the best sense of the word, but they need a lot of energy. And this is something that you have to be most careful about the control of the energy and the chemicals that you are to use in that machine. So that's the case that then you have all the synaptics, all the information, and you know exactly what happens in every chamber of that machine. Remind that what we have to do is to collect the information about the efficiency and process indicators, the water consumption per kilos that you are producing, the electric consumption per kilos, or the gas consumption per kilo, something that then you can see this development that we have done where you can compare today's batch with the previous batch. And you see that in that case, you have an average of 31 liters per kilo, while the previous batch it was 38. Something happened there, and you have to have someone in your crew to take care about this and to analyze and to work into this direction. The same happens with this other example, where you see that liters per kilo was very low in this batch, 0.23, while you see the previous one, it was 140. Something happened there. You have to do the control of those information on this data. You need to get this information real time so you can act immediately. If we take an example about the liters per kilo, the kilos steams per kilo of the production, or the kilowatts per kilo, you decide what are the different values. And when it comes to the liters per kilo, you realize that you have fixed the objective value and the limit value. And it happened to be that in the month of February, we were higher than we expected we should be, the limit value. Someone in the company has to take care of that. So we encourage our customers to have someone into the engineering department to analyze what are the reasons for this increase so that we can make it happen, to take actions, effective actions to work on that. So the general KPIs for a processing mill from the commercial point of view could be the kilos per month. What are you producing? The turnover, the billing per month, the number of active clients versus the total number of clients, the ones that you don't have, the kilos batch, general average, or the average kilos per batch and per customer. With all this information, you can decide how to proceed, and you have 3D dimensional charts that will help you to analyze what you are doing in every case. At the end of the day, when we bring in our quality indicators, the kilos reprocessed versus the kilos processed, the production, or something as important as the right first time. We are to keep this information in mind so we can improve and work on that. And finally, we come to a composite indicator, the OEE, that stands for overall equipment effectiveness. In that case, you are to consider the availability of the plant, the total production capacity, the efficiency, and the quality. So why we did not reach the maximum production? What happened here? If you have this image of the taps, of the water taps, you'll see that you have a 100% of the production, but there are losses of the production. There is less productivity, for instance, into the stentors. Well, you plan to produce at 80 meters permitted, we are producing just 20, something happened here. The quality issues, so don't be surprised if whenever you start to analyze the figures, you realize that the effectiveness of your plant is 60%, not 100% as you expected. There are some customers in Brazil that are using the information about the OE metrics sorry, to analyze and even to pay the premiums to the operators in the plant, provided they are matching the goals they have been established in the company. Again, the OE real example, this lists all the machines, it lists all the information, availability, the kilos, and at the end, the most important thing is the final part here, this 72% in the plant. If you are not matching this, something happens, something that you have to work, and you have someone in your company to take care about that. Something crucial as of today, the cost control. The input price allocation is something that is very important. Remind electricity, the steam, the different products you are using, and know that we bring solutions to your hand that it's not needed to have ourselves involved to do the codes transformation, something that you can do simply at your end by yourself. And this is something that you can do by working on your area without our intervention. So you can customize the needs that you may have and the information that you need from your company. This is an example for a cost with all the detailed information, starting from the chemicals you use, the colorants you use, but when you go to a detailed batch, you will see the cost for the opening process, for the dyeing process, what you are using in terms of water, steam, electricity, so you can come to the real fact on the information. This is showing each one of the machines in the plant. You can double click on them and you will see exactly what is happening in that machine. If it's working, if it's not working, if it's a failure, but you can do even changes in some of the machines when we talk about dyeing machines to change the tourniquet speed by using this monitoring system. And then this is an example for the weaving plant, something very interesting. Bear in mind that I gave the example for a processing mill, but we are also into the area of the weaving and knitting plant. So work on the planning, or also bear in mind this Gantt chart for the real-time vision, what happens. So you know exactly where do you have each lot, where are you producing, which stage do you have the fabric, and eventually you can do some changes and you can calculate new scenarios. If you are late with a delivery because the supplier came late with a product and you have to reschedule everything, you can do it on your own, and this is something that you can make it happen here. Something that is very interesting. This is a scenario, you like it, you keep it, you don't like it, you stop, and you don't accept these changes. So bear in mind that the importance of building a team where you can do all the monitoring of all those steps that we said before. It makes no sense to set a list of KPIs to fix targets if there's no one to follow them closely. You have to create objective values that can be doing graphs, establishing limit values, weekly, monthly, yearly, as you prefer, per machine even. And you need to have someone to take care about that, someone from the engineering department or someone from the technical department in order to analyze what happens in every case, so you can improve in every moment. And mark, for example, annual improvement objectives of each indicator. So you can make it happen every year and you can be better every year and be at that moment more competitive. I have to thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry that I've been very fast. Good be 4 hours to talk about that. I want to thank you for your time, for your understanding, and we do remain available for any additional information that you may need. Thank you very much indeed, and the ball is in someone else's court. Thank you very much indeed.